Hello guys, welcome back to another Lumley trading live stream. Haven't done one. I think it's been a few months now. I think it's been about maybe 4 or so months since the last one. Just going to do some live trading today. Again, it's probably going to be a bit more of a quiet day. So obviously the open was quite strong, but you need to realize international markets are closed, as you can kind of see in the title. Especially over in the UK, and I think most of Europe. This Monday is considered a bank holiday Monday. So again, institutional traders in these countries aren't going to be trading. So again, instantly there's going to be a lot of liquidity knocked off. Retail traders, I mean, they probably are like me. Right now, I'm living back in England and I'm still trading. So we'll probably have still on the retail side, but again, we're not making much of the actual market volume. Wanted to start the stream here though, because I was just before I even started streaming, I wanted to make sure there was some opportunity of trade today. I'm looking at one right now. If we can get SPX to kind of push towards the open, there's an option strategy that I like trading. So kind of just waiting for that. We need these 4,085 puts to come back down to around 1,100. If they can, like it looks like they're doing now, just going to look to play it. But again, because it's the first time, because European markets are closed, it is going to be something I'm going to play a bit of reduced size on, again, kind of just as a way to manage a bit of risk. Because, very rare that US markets are open when European ones are closed. So again, we may just act a bit differently, so don't want to be trading large size when we're a bit less certain on what could happen. Because again, whenever you test strategies and stuff, you're testing them in normal market conditions when all markets are open, whether that's institutional and retail traders. So if anything kind of changes, it's always, at least I prefer to start reducing size in environments like that, because again, just there's that bit more of uncertainty. Now it is coming close to that entry, but we're just getting a bit of hesitation now, kind of around this price. So just waiting for it to really move out of that price. Alright, let me move that out of the way. Might actually open up Discord as well, just so I can get some live news coming through as well. And as well, if you want to know quite a good news source, one of the things I use, I'll show you on Discord actually. It's called Walter Bloomberg, and what he'll kind of do is pump through. You kind of get live market news, comes through quite quickly. You also kind of get analyst views on the market. Just keeping an eye on that, which is quite good. Again, he sends through articles if you want to read through those. Block trays, it actually hasn't sent these through in a while. Not something I used to use anyway, so I'm not too fast. Upgrade, downgrades, again, these can be good, especially if you're looking maybe to wonder why a stock is gapped, or you're looking for stocks that could potentially gap. Again, those upgrade, downgrades usually going to lead to some sort of movements, especially if it's a bigger names, if you see like a JPM change or something. You have the inside commodities. Again, this kind of just give you some news related, to commodities. Earnings. He'll even post the earnings whisper so you can see what's coming up for the week. I think this is the main thing, especially like this week. Nothing really to be paying all that much attention to. Actually, this is an old post, but even this week, there isn't too much coming out this week. Economic calendar, again, just what's coming out today. Again, I usually find this elsewhere anyway, because then I can see what are the main ones and the important ones. And morning calls, and again, this would kind of just be some sort of again, news brief. But again, a lot of this, the key stuff, we'll post over on the channel. Again, we have the morning briefing news release, or if you follow the LinkedIn, you can have it in Word format. We do actually post it in our Discord as well, I think. Live news. The news roundup. So like today, we posted it before the market opened, just kind of the key things that happened since the previous open. We also do actually have the live news on our Discord. This is kind of a bit more advanced, so Walter Bloomberg will manually kind of move stuff over. What this will do is look at kind of mainly the big Twitter pages that post it. So you got breaking market news, and again, these are good ones to follow on Twitter if you don't already. First Squawk, I think they're the main two that are in here. The other ones will post occasionally, but these are the two main ones. And so basically just copies those tweets over and post them in the Discord. But because it does that, again, sometimes you'll get duplicate messages if you see First Squawk and breaking. So if you're saying maybe big news come out, just focus on one of them. But otherwise, it shouldn't be too much of a hassle. But yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. Again, we do post earnings in here. again, it tends to be forget. The time I'll really post it is if there's big earnings coming out. If there's not really big names coming out, I don't really tend to post it there all that often. So I just wanted to go through that anyway, just to kind of cover it. I'll leave the news open over here so I can see if anything's coming out. So it looks like SPX is pulling back, which is a bit annoying considering we're waiting for our trade, which requires it to kind of push back nearer to the open. But that's all good. We'll kind of see how does it start moving to the downside. And then, yeah, kind of this weekend as well, just spent a bit of time testing out some new strategies. So especially in this kind of market condition, I've noticed it kind of since the banking kind of crisis. A lot of strategies that I did before, which provided near enough daily opportunities, have definitely slowed down a bit. Even kind of like this option one I'm looking at on the right. It used to be, you know, maybe every other day, most days in general though. But I think last week it only provided 2 opportunities. A week before that, maybe only 1. So a lot of these have been slowing down. So I'm kind of just in the process now, kind of researching ones in for a different market environment that can be a bit more frequent. Because again, don't want to force trades, and I haven't been forcing any. But it is also, you're kind of sitting at the desk all the day. I do kind of want some opportunities. So it's kind of just finding new strategies for different markets. Again, not really wasting time when markets are open to try and find them. But again, a lot of the strategies, at least I find and trade, I try and make them so that I don't have to kind of be observing the screen, kind of sitting here watching it, kind of every second of it. But instead, like this kind of one, a lot of the times, all I need to do is, I know I'm not going to buy it before kind of that 1100 anyway. So a lot of the times I'll just have alerts out, say 1250, because when it comes down to this price, I know, okay, we're getting close, I want to start paying attention. But if I don't really see any other opportunities, and this is the main one I'm focusing on, you know, I'll set that alert, and then I can just go and do other stuff around the house, or focus on doing something for YouTube related, or another business or something. So that's why I kind of like these strategies, and these are the main ones I try and find, because then I don't have to be, you know, eyes on the screen properly for, you know, the whole of market. The whole, you know, 7-8 hours of the open. So I prefer ones like this, and again, I'll be always sitting here at least kind of the first 30 minutes, maybe an hour of the market open. But after that, if either I've taken my trades or I'm waiting for a trade, I'll kind of just set the alerts out. If they go off, I'll come back and trade them. Otherwise, not too fussed. I'll kind of just sit out and wait. See if there's any big movers that I maybe want to be paying attention to. So MU has moved quite big. Is this on any news? It'll probably tell us. Samsung Electric said it would cut memory chip output. Okay, so again, that's not a bad release. Also, things, I think it's like Alibaba. There was a big Chinese news out. Oh, actually, it's recovered. I think it was things like Alibaba. They did get hit quite heavy, because I think there was some talks of something to do with the Chinese government and AI. So it might not be in Alibaba, but they were talking about it being a bubble. So obviously going to knock a few companies. You can see if there's anything on my current watch list. Not really. Don't really have many Chinese stocks on my watch list, because not something I'm going to really swing all that often. And, you know, if something like an Alibaba has a massive move in the day, you're going to see it on the scanners. So I don't really need it in the watch list. Tesla's moving still to the downside. This is a key thing to be watching as well. Something we do actually currently have a swing on. Again, coming into that kind of $200, $210 level. That was coming into that first deviation, both on the 6-month and that 1 year. And again, markets as well, if we're looking at the SPX, what happened to SPX, it was coming into these first deviations as well. Ignore those lines, that was something I was testing on psychological levels. But yeah, you know, we came into that first deviation as well on the underlying S&P. So whenever you kind of see that, kind of just increase confidence on that pullback of the trade. So hit that with just some outright puts. So they're actually probably doing quite well right now. Main target on that, I'll probably lock in some of the contracts today. But really, main target is going to be that 155 against statistical mean. Like we do in all our analysis video, the trade plan, if we're looking at a swing perspective, does not change. As you come into these deviations, Really, it's just looking for a reversal trade. That's how I trade. I play reversals. I don't tend to trade trends all that often. So again, getting in with here. I think we got could have been the 180 puts because they were relatively cheap for what they were. I think we went for a 3-week out expiry. And again, looking to going to be that main target of 155. Why do I want to close at 155? Because 155 to 140 statistical mean. And again, like we always say, statistical mean is fair value. So if I'm trading, I want to be getting out at fair value because it's a gamble whether it will bounce off here or continue lower. So I just wanted to go through that because Tesla is actually moving a bit today. Have a quick look what's happening on SPX. Now we had a temporary bounce, but it looks like we might continue lower. So again, it's really the main focus for me again right now is going to be this trade opportunity. If this doesn't provide one, there's not too much else I'm really looking at today. Not too many on the swings I'm looking at. Because I'm already in a few short bias ones. Again, just expecting the overall market to pull back because of where they are from a standard deviation channel perspective. And there wasn't, well, I don't really see many stocks coming down kind of at their second or so deviations on the downside. Apart from obviously the banking stocks, you've got tons of them. We're still holding, I think we made a video on it. FRC, we're actually still down on this trade. But you know, once we had this, actually you can't see that screen. Once we had obviously that big sell-off, FRC got hit a lot more than the other banks. So I think it was when it was about $20. What we started doing here was starting to hit some calls. Again, just outright calls. I think 2 of them were 30-day expiries and the other one was like 150 days out. Actually, I can put it up in a second. Again, I think we put $500 or so of max risk in there, kind of just to see how they play out. We made that money day trading FRC. So if it goes against us, it's not really the end of the world. So yeah, FRC, I'll show you the contracts we have. So yeah, we've got $50 call. This expires in 18 days. $50 call also expires in 11 days. Again, these two now are most likely just going to expire worthless. So not too focused on them really. Then it's just going to be the focus. We still got 130 days, so big movements can still happen. On the 70 call, 18th of August expiry. So again, we'll just kind of see how that plays out. Again, it was kind of just profits we made from day trading it, so it's kind of let's see how it plays out. And again, we got a swing on Bed Bath and Beyond. Again, I think we put $50 into this trade. A lot of the times with these trades, again, they don't need to work out often. We get them quite cheap. So I think for this trade, we spent maybe $50 in total. Yeah, trade price 26.24, and it is kind of a gamble when I'm getting into these trades. I know, okay, I'm not buying off anything in apart for the hope that there's some sort of a squeeze. So if they expire worthless, again, that's why we put in a small amount of money. You know, $50 easily can afford to lose it. That's fine. But if for any reason we do get some sort of squeeze, we see a Bed Bath and Beyond, because what's it now? I think it's under $1. Yeah, 30 cents. You know, that was at $30, you go back, you know, when it had a massive squeeze. That's why I buy these calls, because if there's some sort of a massive squeeze, then we're in for that move. Again, those options will be up thousands and thousands of %. And again, if it doesn't get a squeeze, it stays under, you know, $2. Doesn't really matter. We lose $50. So to me, it just kind of makes sense on the risk to reward. Again, not something I'd be looking at all the time, just if the options got very cheap, which I thought they did there. Annoyingly, we did kind of buy them 2 days before, so we literally bought them around oh, you can't see that screen again. We literally bought them around here when it was sitting about 80 cents, and then we had that news. I can't even remember what that was now. I think it was something to do with bankruptcy again, and then yeah, obviously just got absolutely smashed from that level again. But again, it won't matter too much, because again, we're just holding that more in the anticipation of a squeeze. Still watching SPX down at these lows. Actually, it's moving very weird. And again, you can already kind of see by how it's moving. You don't see this in a normal kind of liquid market. But again, European markets are closed. It's probably why we're seeing it trade a bit weird. Even on the options, these should be quite liquid options. But on the buyers and sellers, again, we're not seeing many either side. So again, I'll probably, when this comes in, if it comes down to that level, it'll probably just be a 1 contract trade, see how it plays out, and I think after that I'd probably just be done for the day and kind of just spend the rest of the trading day focusing on probably a bit of strategy for a few hours. But apart from that, yeah, it's going to be kind of the main focus. I wasn't even too focused on trading today. I was like, I'll at least come on, watch that first hour. But considering, again, the other markets are closed, I don't like trading in kind of a different environment or one that is not really being tested. Don't think there's any news as well, actually. Let me have a quick look. Again, this is how I used to just see my news calendar, just using FX Factory. It's quite quick. Yeah, today, nothing's happening. Just an FOMC member, Williams, but it's probably not going to have all that much effect. And that's actually a 4:15, so it's after the market close. Again, nothing really all that big tomorrow. Okay, Wednesday actually looks like a massive day. We got CPI, Bank of Canada, sorry. We do actually have a Bank of England speaks as well. So CPI as well, going to be one of those days. I don't tend to trade those initial releases anymore. I'll be definitely trading the crude oil inventories. That'll be that main trade of Wednesday. FOMC minutes. Okay, yeah, so this Wednesday actually we'll probably do a bit of research before coming into it, see what plans we want to look at. Because that FOMC meetings actually usually provides a few opportunities. Obviously CPI does, but it's pre-market. I don't really like trading these big news releases in futures anymore. Main reason is you can make a lot of money quickly, but you can lose it so quickly. I think in December on the CPI release, I literally made, I think it was on one or maybe two contracts, literally made about $1,000 in 5 seconds. And that's great. Yes, it went our way, but again, if it goes the other way, it's kind of what put me off at the same time. Yes, it was a good win, but it also kind of opened my eyes as I don't really want to be trading this release if it can go that fast, that harsh. Because again, I wouldn't want to be losing $1,000 in a minute. Okay, cool. But yeah, Wednesday then does look like quite a big day. Probably, yeah, be looking at some research into the FOMC meeting, seeing is there some maybe sort of spread arbitrage we could probably get on the options. Look into that. Okay, options breaking down. They're intraday low. Really just waiting for probably a break above that 81 on the SPX, and then we'll probably see contracts down at the value we're looking at. Might as well close that. We can make this all a bit bigger then. So again, we're looking at around a 1090 entry. A lot of times that is where my entry will sort of trigger, but a lot of times I kind of wait for it to kind of push that bit lower through that level and then try and hit in. Because again, even if we can get in at say the 1050, it's just it's an extra $40 made per contract, just like that, just by being a bit more patient. And a lot of times it's very rare that it bounces exactly on the level I'm watching. So again, usually I'll be a bit more patient. If it does end up bouncing exactly on that level, I'll just sit out. I can deal with that because 9 out of 10 it's going to break that bit below. So it just makes sense to be waiting for that bit of better entry. Okay, just waiting for that bit of a breakdown. And we'll see. Again, and we've had about 5 good candles of green, which again, because when we're buying these puts, obviously we are still waiting for that pullback on the SPX, so that could be a bit good sign. Yes, obviously that shows momentum, but eventually you need that red candle. So I usually don't mind it. Oh, we've kind of got that reversal candle there actually. Again, we are trading off a 1 minute, so the signals are never going to be as accurate. Like obviously you get that reversal candle here. Is it actually going to lead to a reversal? It's on a 1 minute. It's a lot more of a gamble, but again, I just prefer it because then I can see this a lot clearer. Yeah, okay, well, we did end up actually getting that reversal. And again, that is really though the power of the 0-day expiration SPX contracts is on that kind of relatively small move there. Again, if you bought that close of that reversal candle in anticipation, you could have your stop at that low. You could risk $50 on that trade. You would have been up at 160 on it. They're definitely not bad. It's just how liquid are they? That's why I quite like looking. The main way I'll look at them is obviously the at-the-money contracts are always going to be the most liquid. And also I've noticed the open contracts tend to be quite liquid throughout the day. So obviously we opened at 4,085 and around 32 cents. So obviously looking at those 85s contracts, they tend to be quite liquid throughout the day. That's one of the main reasons I like trading off this, is then I don't have to be switching between strikes. Okay, it looks like we're getting a bit of a pull down. Again, this will now delay my entry that bit longer, and the reason for that is, again, we've had kind of that good push to the upside. We've had that bit of a pullback, so we'll probably trigger as soon as it kind of breaks through this high. But we've now had, you know, kind of a double top here. If we end up hitting this level, I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of see it snap through. So again, if we snap through on that, you know, those contracts could go down to 10, maybe even $900. So again, it's kind of just delaying that entry if it makes sense. And in this kind of case, I think it makes a bit more sense just trying to be more patient. Again, if it bounces early, it bounces early. You just miss the opportunity. But especially on a, you know, like we said, European markets are closed. Don't really have to trade this all that often. So it's all about kind of reducing risk. And again, if we miss an opportunity because of that, that's just part of the game. Okay, looks like we're breaking through there. Again, these options, it looks like they're actually delayed on here, but we're sitting around that 470. So it's one of the only things that makes me kind of think move back to interactive brokers, because again, you can see it on Active Trader where the actual prices are, but sometimes these charts do get delayed. It can be quite annoying, especially if you know, like these kind of ones where they're, you know, 2-minute trades. You kind of want that to be updated as soon as possible. Oh, I didn't even see the chat. Sorry. What's up, Adrian? Neo. Let me check that in a sec, because again, it looks like we are breaking to the low on these contracts, so I want to be paying attention right now. And I'll check out Neo right after. Just breaking to a new low on the contracts again. Again, haven't hit that 1090 just yet. Again, we can't kind of broken this double, kind of 1 minute double top again. It's a 1 minute, so it's not going to be super strong. But again, would expect some sort of a move. So again, I'm going to be a bit more patient on this 1090 entry. Expecting a bit more of a pump through. And see if we can kind of get that closer as it moves closer to the actual 85. It kind of looks like it's holding this 81 level. Okay, breaking that previous candle high. Okay, yeah, looks like we're now snapping down on the options. And we're near that 1090. That's the main level I'm paying attention to. So we need about that one more tick more. But again, kind of want to see it spike through a bit. I'm not going to hit that 1090 again. That's where the bid's sitting now. I'm not going to buy into that. Again, I want it to kind of crack through before I start getting into that. No orders have actually filled at that 1090 yet either, so still waiting for that. And again, when I'll cancel out and say I kind of missed a move is if it hits 1090 and hits probably 1200, that's probably when I'd sit out and say, okay, I missed the move. If it, you know, bounces to say 1140, still kind of waiting for a bigger bounce off that. Okay, that 1 minute was pretty inactive, so we're putting it back a tiny bit right now. Again, these, I just don't like it when it's like this, because you tend to just get a big move. So again, hopefully it's not really to the downside, because that doesn't help me as much. But again, there has still been no fill at that 1090, so still need to wait for that next hit. Okay, that's pulling back. We can quickly have a quick look at Neo then. I haven't actually looked at Neo in quite a while. So I was sitting at 890 from a deviation perspective. Just quickly pull this up. And not something I'm looking to touch really at all, because we are very near to that statistical mean. Statistical mean is 850 to around $7. Again, this is fair value. You're not looking to trade within this area. That's more used as a target. If we push to the upside, I'm looking at a 1125 resistance. and a $4 support. Obviously, the support is very far off, so probably not going to provide too much opportunity there. And again, it's more of a downtrending stock, so I'll be looking more on the shorts anyway. So yeah, that 11.25, if we can hit that. If we break higher, looking more at $13, and those would be kind of the two short bias levels I'd be paying attention to. SPX, let's get back to that. Looks like we're about to start executing at the 1090 on the options. Probably as soon as we break that, we'll probably execute. Okay, we've executed some at the 1090 now, so again, kind of just waiting in, ideally for a bit of a snap through. And then, okay, there we go, we're getting a bit of a move. Get ready to buy market. Want a bit more of a further move through. There we go, we're breaking through. Might hit him with just one. Oh, I didn't mean 1070, I wanted it down at the 1030. We'll get in for one for now. Start seeing how they play out. You know, I didn't get a fantastic entry on that. So I'll kind of watch how that's playing out, but so I might put a limit there so I can get a re-entry a bit better. I might do that because it does look a bit slow. So what I'm doing here, okay, no, it looks like we missed it. Again, sometimes if the entry isn't great, you can kind of just try and scout that out the first move and then just look to get a re-entry. Probably cancel that out now. Okay, so we got out again. That's more of a scout. Hopefully it doesn't pop from here, but I was expecting more of a move to this 85, so that's more where I'd be looking to get out. Again, we didn't kind of get that entry. It looked like over here it was around a 1040 on the bid. We ended up getting bought in around 1070. Again, if it breaks down from here, we'll miss that move. Not too much we can do about that. Again, that $12 is that cutoff. If it hits at, we will kind of say we missed that move or kind of got out a bit too early. But again, it was more expecting a bit more of a move breakdown and we can get a better entry, hopefully. Like even now, if we can get in more close to this 1040, looks like we just got hit in again, yeah. So again, we kind of locked in that $30 of profit, and then we've also made kind of $50 on a better entry. So that's kind of why we played it like that. So it's kind of just managing that position. Again, we might break that bit lower. We can kind of let it run that bit more. We didn't make massive profit on that move before, but should have actually probably been a bit more patient, waiting for that break of the high, but all good. Okay, might not be great actually. We could actually start breaking through. Yeah, it looks like we actually might snap through the open. Yeah, we've got a 1040 average on this contract. So we'll kind of see where we can go. About to break even about now. Okay, snap into the lows on the options. Okay, I think I have a bit more concern would be if we break up to this 85. There's a bit of a chance we start to break out. So I'll be watching for that. High volume on the option. Okay, if you can get a bit of a breakdown here now. Breaking down a tiny bit now. Again, don't forget we are always watching this on a 1 minute. So again, it's not mega moves when we're looking at this. Okay, back to back break even on these options. I'm kind of waiting for that break of a bit further down before we cut out. Gonna quickly cut out. There we go, 1080 again, not a massive move. Reason I'm cutting out here, and I'll kind of explain the thought process more on it, is we're moving very slowly. So again, I've posted videos I think on this trade multiple times. You tend to see it move. Okay, it looks like we might be breaking out a tiny bit now, but they tend to move quite quickly, and if they don't move all that quickly, again, the certainty is never as much. And considering now we're getting close to this 485, yeah, it does look like we're snapping a bit now to the upside. So might just go out a bit early on that, but again, it's more just kind of managing risk because we're getting very close to this 85. If we make one more move to the upside, we'll probably hit that 85, and from that 85, we are most likely going to break through. I've just noticed my camera's very off. The reason for that is, again, that's kind of where the open is. If you do a red to green, you tend to kind of get that breakthrough. So a lot of times it kind of just makes sense getting out coming into this level, or if that's going to be that next break, because again, we can kind of manage risk, get out here. Yes, we may not be in for a home run, but at least kind of we can get out with money. We don't have that risk on the table, whereas if we break one more move to the upside, again, we're kind of in a lot more danger. Again, it does look, oh yeah, these contracts did pop. So again, we did kind of get out early. Again, that would usually be that target, but it's not the end of the world. Again, we ended up making $70 on that trade, so nothing crazy. Bit of a slow, small day. Again, if we actually stayed in for these moves, would it be much better? But again, it's coming down. What are you comfortable with doing? And kind of what's been tested. And again, one of those things I've been testing is, if we're coming back to that red to green move, again, I'd rather get out, make that small profit, and kind of lock in, not that loss. Because again, problem with this strategy, and again, kind of a lot of the ones I do, they have a very high win rate. But if you take the losses are going to be not much bigger, but they're going to be bigger than your wins. Let's say your wins on average are going to be about $100 to probably $250 per contract. My loss I'm looking at per contract is probably $300 before I cut out. So again, you're always kind of risking more in each of these trades. And again, that's a kind of allowed because whenever I kind of trade the strategy, it wins, 9 times out of 10. It wins a lot of the time, so I can afford to take that extra risk. But the way I make it have that high accuracy is in situations like this, when I get less confident or kind of more uncomfortable with the trade, is just get out. No point kind of trying to force it, and then, you know, if that led to a $300 trade, then okay, you know, I then need to take you know, one or two trade, or probably 2 or 3 trades to make back that loss, which could have been quite easily avoidable. Again, in this case, cool, we cut out 1080, could have made probably an extra, you know, $120 on that. Could have made the day, what, 190. But again, it's part of trading. You're never going to always catch ideally what you want. And again, I probably won't take any more trades today. Main reason for that, again, like this, even saw from this, is kind of how slow this was moving. Again, I think it's just down to the European side being closed, that you don't have their institutional traders trading. I think it's just making everything a bit slow. But I wanted to catch in and see if there was any opportunity. Did provide some. Again, $70, not anything crazy. Especially for the time we took. I think we were in that trade in total for about what, 30 for about 6 minutes, so $70 in 6 minutes. But again, we did take risk to do that, so not great. But anyway, I guess can't complain. If you make money in the day, it's better than having a red day. Again, we'll be back. Probably won't do as many live streams, but I think the live streams will probably start up a lot more coming into September, kind of late September for a few months. We'll start seeing how these do. But for now, one of the new series we're trying to do is you're kind of posting the bigger trades we take, whether that's a big loss or a big win. Kind of just going through the thought process, because again, what I'm trying to do now is record every trade I take, so you can kind of go through the thought process of it. Kind of see what I was thinking, why I cut out of a trade for a loss there, or why I took profit there, and all that kind of stuff. So I think we've had one of those, or maybe 2 of those uploaded so far. So we'll probably upload more of those coming into the end of this week. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, why not drop a like and subscribe. Hope to see you in the next live stream. Again, probably be a while, but I hope to see you in that. Otherwise, I hope you're enjoying the video.